So there's some unfortunate news that has been circulating around the internet as of late. Um, for those who are Xbox fans, particularly fans of the Hi-Fi Rush game that came out this past year, unfortunately, its developer Tango Gameworks has been shut down by Xbox for whatever reason. I'm not exactly sure what the explanation was. It probably has something to do with like a budget, or maybe the game didn't make enough money or whatever the hell the case was. But it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting a sequel to Hi-Fi Rush in the future, and it's a shame because that game was one that was really unique. It was critically acclaimed. It had a variety of different genres to it, including beat 'em up, rhythm, action, hack and slash, and and the game looked beautiful. It's probably the closest thing that we got to Jet Set Radio in quite some time. And a lot of people even went as far as to say that this is kind of like the Jet Set Radio of this era. And the game utilized the Unreal Engine 4. Last year, when it came out in January, it was released for Microsoft Windows and Xbox Series X. Back in March of this year, it was released for the PlayStation 5. And pretty much the game, it's quite interesting because I believe the plot for the game was about, I guess, battling mega corporations or something like that. And lo and behold, like a year later, the developer for the game gets shut down by Xbox or by Microsoft, which just so happens to be a mega corporation. So I find that kind of weird. And maybe, I don't know, the plot for that game kind of made certain people feel uncomfortable. But regardless, Hi-Fi Rush was actually a pretty good game. And honestly, I do feel that this is something that we're not going to have another game like this in quite some time, because there's just so many things about it that was pretty unique, from its art style to its humor to its visual style. Just looking at the game and its aesthetics gave me it reminded me of the 2000s in some ways. And I think that was one of the things that ended up being one of um the main things that appeal to casuals and to, I guess, people who are fans of the genres that I just mentioned. And I'm not exactly sure like how well this game did in terms of sales. I know that at one point it had reached like 3 million players, um worldwide. And even though um a lot of people don't think that's a lot, um, it's actually pretty good for like this day and age, because we live in a day and age where action adventure RPGs and shooter games are very popular. This was a very unique game, and it was a mix of multiple genres that have been irrelevant for quite some time. And I do feel like the in-game content that, it possessed was something that pretty much it contributed to its overall replay value for the most part. Even though the game was mostly like linear, the boss battles were pretty fun, and for the most part, I do feel that it's one of those games that is going to go down as being one of the more underrated titles of the 2020s decade. But yeah, it's a damn shame that we're not going to get a sequel to Hi-Fi Rush. And like for this, like I honestly don't think we're going to get another game that's going to highly resemble that anytime in the near future. I don't expect anything like that from Nintendo. Um, but then again, I don't know. Sega plans on rebooting some of their older IP, so who knows? We might get a new Jet Set Radio game later down the line. We're keeping our fingers crossed on that. But yeah, just some unfortunate news that pretty much came out of nowhere. And like, I guess, like the upside to this is that people could still play this online and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, this definitely had the potential to be a video game series. And um I guess the plug got pulled, and apparently, the parent company um, for a Hi-Fi Rush, the developer, apparently got shut down by Xbox, and it doesn't seem like we're ever going to get a Hi-Fi Rush 2 in the future.